My name is Edward Connor. I'm 75 years old, and for the first time I'm going to tell you about something I did in Vietnam that I will regret until the last day of my life. I have kept this secret for 53 years, but I am dying. Lung cancer. And I need to say this out loud before I go. Vietnam, 1969. I was 19 years old, 25th Infantry Division. We'd been in country for 7 months. 7 months of watching friends get blown apart by booby traps we couldn't see. 7 months of sweeping villages where everyone smiled at us during the day and planted mines on our trails at night. 7 months of being told we were winning a war that felt like it was killing us. March 17th, 1969. That's the date. I remember it because it was the day everything changed. We were operating near a village called Thanh Binh. Small place, maybe 40 families. We'd swept through it 6 times in 3 months, never found weapons, never found VC. Just farmers who looked at us like we were the enemy. 2 days before, our platoon had been ambushed on a trail half a mile from that village. Claymore mine, command detonated. Someone was watching us. Someone waited until our point man was right on top of it and triggered it. The blast killed 3 men instantly. Corporal Davis, PFC Martinez, and a kid named Tommy Chen who'd been in country for 11 days. I was 10 feet behind Chen when it happened. The explosion threw me backwards into the mud. When I looked up, there was nothing left of him above the waist. Nothing. Just his legs still standing there for a second before they fell over. And Martinez was screaming, both hands gone, stumps spraying blood. We called in a medevac, got Martinez out, bagged what we could find of the other 2. And then our sergeant, a guy named Jackson, 28 years old, 2 tours, he stood there looking at that trail and he said, "They knew we were coming, someone told them." He looked toward Thanh Binh, we all did, and something shifted in the air, something cold and ugly. We swept the village that afternoon, harder than before. We kicked in doors, threw old men to the ground, screamed at women who didn't speak English. We tore through huts looking for the detonator, the wire, anything that would prove what we already knew. And we found nothing, like always. But in one hut, we found a young man, maybe 22, 23. He was hiding under the floor in a spider hole. When we dragged him out, he had dirt all over him and his hands were shaking. Jackson asked him where the VC were. The guy said nothing, just stared, so Jackson hit him. Open hand across the face, hard enough to split his lip. The guy still said nothing. Jackson hit him again, and then he told 2 of us to hold the guy's arms and he punched him in the stomach. The guy doubled over, vomiting, and Jackson grabbed his hair and yanked his head back and screamed in his face, "Where are they? Where are the VC?" Nothing. The guy said nothing. So Jackson took out his sidearm, a .45, and he put it against the guy's kneecap. And he said, "Last chance." The guy's eyes went wide. He started talking fast in Vietnamese. We didn't understand a word. Jackson pulled the trigger. The sound in that small hut was deafening. The guy's scream was worse. He collapsed, his knee shattered. And Jackson stood there, gun still smoking, and he said, "Next one goes in his head unless someone tells me something useful." The village elder came running, old man, maybe 70. He was shouting, crying, begging. Our interpreter translated. He said the young man was simple, mentally disabled. He hid from everyone, not just us. He didn't know anything about anything. He was just scared. Jackson looked at the guy writhing on the floor, looked at the blood, looked at the elder, and he said, "Then you better start talking, because someone in this village knows where that detonator is." Nobody talked. We left the guy bleeding in the hut and pulled out. Command radioed asking for a sit rep. Jackson reported no enemy contact, no weapons found, 1 civilian injured resisting search. That was it. Nobody questioned it. Nobody cared. That night we set up in a tree line about 400 meters from the village. We could see the cooking fires, hear voices carrying across the rice paddies. And Jackson gathered us together and he said, "Tomorrow morning we're going back." He didn't say why. He didn't have to. We all knew. At 400 hours we moved in, dark, silent. We surrounded the village. Jackson split us into teams, 4 men per team. Each team took a section. And then he said the words that still echo in my head. He said, "If they want to protect the VC, they can burn with them." We had thermite grenades, white phosphorus, standard issue for destroying equipment. Jackson passed them out. one per man. And we moved into the village. I was with a guy named Peters and another guy named Sullivan. We took the eastern section, and Peters looked at me and he said, "You ready?" I wasn't ready. I was 19 years old. But I pulled the pin on that thermite grenade and I threw it into the first hut. The magnesium ignited instantly, burned at 4,000 degrees. The thatch roof went up like gasoline. People started screaming. A woman ran out, her hair on fire. A man stumbled after her, trying to beat out the flames. And we moved to the next hut, and the next, throwing grenades, watching them burn. The villagers were running now, some toward the rice paddies, some toward the road. Jackson had men positioned on both sides. He didn't shoot them. He just herded them away from the huts, made them watch. Within 10 minutes, the entire village was burning. 40 structures, homes, storage huts, everything. The heat was so intense we had to back away. The smoke was thick and black, and the screaming, God, the screaming. I saw an old woman on her knees in the dirt wailing, watching her home collapse in flames. I saw children clutching their parents, crying. I saw the village elder, the same one who'd begged us to stop the day before, just standing there with this look on his face. Not anger, not hate, just emptiness. And then I heard it, a different scream, high-pitched, panicked, coming from inside one of the burning huts. Someone was still inside. A child. Had to be. That sound. I started toward it, but Sullivan grabbed my arm. He said, "Don't." I said, "There's someone in there." He said, "I know, let it burn." I stood there. And I did nothing. We pulled out at 04:30, left the village burning. Jackson radioed it in as a VC stronghold destroyed in combat operations. Said we'd taken fire and returned it. Said the village was being used as an enemy staging area. All lies. Command didn't question it, they congratulated us. We never went back to Than Bin. I don't know how many people died that night, I know at least one. The child I heard screaming. I don't know if there were others trapped inside. I don't know how many were injured trying to escape. I just know we destroyed that village and everyone in our platoon knew it was wrong and nobody said a word. 3 weeks later, Jackson stepped on a mine. Lost both legs, died in the medevac before they got him to the hospital. Peters got shot in the head by a sniper 2 months after that. Sullivan made it home. He was hit by a truck on the highway in 1974. I made it home too. Physically. Got married. Had kids. Built a normal life. But I hear that child screaming every night, every single night for 53 years. That high-pitched, terrified scream cutting through the roar of the flames. And then silence. I told myself it was war. I told myself they were sheltering the enemy. I told myself we were following orders, even though we weren't. I told myself everything I needed to tell myself to keep going. And none of it was true. The truth is we did it because we were angry and scared and nobody was stopping us. The truth is I threw that grenade knowing there were people sleeping inside. The truth is I heard a child dying and I did nothing. And the truth is I'm going to die knowing I'm a murderer and there's nothing I can do to change that. You want to know what war really is? It's not heroism. It's not honor. It's 19-year-old kids with weapons and rage and fear making decisions that will haunt them until they die. It's good people becoming monsters because the situation allows it. It's atrocities committed in the name of survival and revenge, and nobody ever being held accountable. I'm 75 years old, I have maybe 6 months left, and I'm going to spend every one of those months hearing that scream, seeing that village burn, knowing what I did, knowing I can never undo it. I'm not asking for forgiveness, I don't deserve it, I'm just telling you the truth. We did things we weren't supposed to do, and we did them because we could, because we were angry, because someone had to pay, and those villagers paid, with their homes, with their lives, because we decided they were guilty. If this horrifies you, good. It should. It horrifies me too. And I was there. I did it. Leave a comment. Call me a monster. You'd be right. The clock's ticking, and I'm running out of time.